This is Eris, and you're listening to Aim Assist Gaming.
Drop the point. Drop the point. Drop the point. Drop the point. No zero Hambone gonna drop the point. Drop the point. No zero Hambone. What is the point? Drop the point.
Hello world, and welcome back to another episode of Drop the Point. I am Hambone, and today I'm joined by my favorite guy, Nolxero. What's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. I'm back.
Back with a brand new job. Things are looking up. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I'm thrilled.
For all the AIM Nation people out there that thought I was going to join Scoop and the poop scooping thing, nah, that didn't happen.
It didn't happen, but money is a-flowing, so life is good, and we are ready to talk to you about some Destiny. So today we are going to talk about Trials and what we thought about it, what we got from it, and where the game is headed. But before that, if you have any questions you want to ask us, you can send those to onpoint@aimassistgaming.com, or you can follow us on Twitter @aimassistgaming, and we'll tweet you back. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into this episode. So Zero, why don't you tell me, how was Trials overall? Did you like the new setup of skill-based matchmaking versus just connection-based?
Yeah, I actually did. I mean, to be honest, I didn't feel like we lost. When we lost, I didn't feel like we lost to too many teams that were better than us. There was definitely a lack in strategy, I think, that we had for Bannerfall, just because this DLC we haven't played as much PvP as before.
Right.
And also, I think we all agreed, none of us had a gun that we were like, this is my gun. This is the gun I go to. Sure, the Hawksaw's amazing. Sure, Red Death does work. But to me, I just don't have any of those guns that are like, dude, this is the gun. I'd murder with this thing.
Right. No, it was definitely a mix and match. At one point, we even pulled out some last words, or at least Troy and I did, to see if that was going to feel like home again. Yeah. I ultimately settled with the Hawksaw. But
yeah, that's
I thought the competition was at a higher level for sure. I think
Absolutely.
They did do a good job with that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I just didn't feel like the teams that we did lose to, most of the time, I didn't feel like it was because they were necessarily better than us for gunplay.
Right.
I just felt like they were more comfortable with the map and knew what they wanted to do. I felt like we didn't find that comfort until the next day.
Right. And and that's the thing. There are a lot of lanes on this map. There were a lot of different angles, a lot of different places you could be sniped from. And like I was discussing with Too Loud, this map really put you into a position where, unless you had a good route to take, you wanted to have a sniper rifle, which really changed the dynamic. I'm used to boards where we get an influx of people running shotguns and fusion rifles or whatever for that close range ability, but this week it was primarily snipe battles. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But with those snipe battles, we did out-snipe the snipers, and we made ourselves to the lighthouse. We did get there. Yep. And let's talk about some of these rewards. If you don't know, first off, the weapons and the armor are dropping in the after-game report, which is new for this version of Trials. But what's weird is they're dropping at light levels around 260. The minimum requirement to get in is 290, and weapons and armor are dropping below that. How in the world is that possible?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't have any good answer for that. I thought that was insane. I was like, why would you do that? If you should get loot that's at least the light level of what it takes to do the activity. I mean, at least, right?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me. So I have no idea. I really don't understand why you're getting 260 stuff. It's it's so low. I don't even know how much time I really want to invest in it.
Right.
Let alone, did the perks seem all that great?
No, they definitely didn't. So what we're talking about here, stuff that you can get from your bronze and your silver tier packages, and then just random gear drops, they were all substantially lower than 290. And it's like most people don't have enough gear that they want to spend to level it up unless you really find a piece that you're like, oh my goodness, it's shotgun and hand cannon, that's what I use, or whatever you like. But even still, there are better versions out there just from the vendors that already come at 280. So it just seemed really mismatched.
That's another good point. Like, why not even be over 280? You
Right.
can buy at the vendor. Like, the whole point of Trials and House of Wolves was like you could better your character by doing it. And that's why a lot of people were like, please run me through Trials so I can get the better gear and better my character. But like this Trials, it doesn't seem like there's a clear, hey, this will help you get a better character. This is what's going to make you, get better.
It didn't.
Or anything.
It didn't, and that's what was weird, because Trials is supposed to be the end-game content for PvP players. It's supposed to be the equivalent of the raid that gives you that feeling of achievement. Now, the actual feeling of getting to the lighthouse was awesome, but when you get there and you get your new adept weapons, there's nothing great about them. They're not elemental primaries. The only thing out of the lighthouse that I remember hearing anybody rave about was that water star hand cannon. I got the auto rifle, which is a bullet hose. It's like Atheon's epilogue. But the one good thing is that it was 318, so it'll infuse nicely into something.
I forget the name of it, but I got the scout, or not the scout, but I did get the scout from the package, but from the chest I got the adept version of I keep wanting to call it the messenger, but it's the pulse rifle.
Right.
And that thing seems to murder. I was running that thing in some regular PvP, and I was like, dude, this might be my gun. Like, this thing feels like a murderer.
That's true. I mean, I did see a couple people, actually, that we faced in Trials using that pulse rifle, but I don't know if it's that great, considering all the other avenues you can get a pulse rifle that are pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you don't...
That you're going to want to grind to get to the lighthouse specifically for that pulse.
Well, you don't even need it for that. If Vance has it, or if it's the Vance item that you'll get out of the packages or whatever, if that's the gun he's giving away that week... The problem with the adept versions is they all come with last resort from what I've seen. They all come with last resort, and I'm like...
Yeah.
I don't really think that's a good perk. Like, I wish they would have randomized what the extra perk was. Like, that would seem like a very viable thing to make you want to go after stuff, as opposed to Last Resort. Because Last Resort has two negatives, like, to me. It's like, one, it boosts your guns if your team is failing. And then, so basically, the other negative is you want your team to fail, essentially, for that gun to do anything. But it's not even a worthwhile perk for anything else. Like, your team has to fail for that perk to be worthwhile. If they don't, if everybody's doing good, like, that perk doesn't mean jack.
Right. And that's what I mean. What you just said is what the raid weapons are. So give us the gun and put last resort on there, sure. But then let's randomize these other things. You know what I mean? Like, the raid weapons all have cocoon. Yeah. So they went with last resort, which there should have been something clearly better than last resort. Firefly, for crying out loud, would have been better to me than last resort.
Anything. I mean, I think that they're afraid of doing anything like Firefly or like explosive rounds. Some people don't like explosive rounds and stuff like that.
Right.
But, like, I don't know. To me, it's like, why not create like a PvP specific perk where it's like, okay, this makes sense. I have faster reload in PvP when I rock these adept weapons.
Right.
And, some people would have complained, like, oh, well, people that can't get to the lighthouse can't get the faster reload, so we're going to get murdered by everybody with those. And it's like, there's got to be somewhere where you get a power advantage. Like, for doing something, you get a power advantage. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Not everything can stay on an even kilt because not everybody can do this or that activity,
Right. And that's what's weird to me is that this week, at least, the scout rifle was the best weapon you can get, and all you needed was 7 wins, and it didn't matter if you had 2 losses or 0 or whatever. And it was the only thing that I was actually excited about was the scout rifle. So I'm not sure if this is something that I'll be doing every week.
Anybody that was paying people to take them to the lighthouse, your bank account or your checkbook or however you're paying for that service is about to be a lot happier, because there's no reason to do. There was really no reason to do it before, but there's definitely no reason to do it now, because those weapons and armor and stuff coming out of those packs, it's just not worth it.
Right.
It's not like you have to go. Like, the competition definitely feels better, and I like that. Like all the changes so far in that respect. But like now, I'm like, well, if it gets too hard and we don't do it, like, what do I care?
You don't. And that's what I mean. The one thing that I will say that maybe will give people a reason to continue playing is that you can get armor to drop above 310. It was you that got the 312
I got like a 312 or 314, same 14.
Right, and that's what I mean. So, and as far as I know, that's the only place that's been confirmed or proven or seen in Destiny right now that's dropping gear above 310. So that's pretty sweet for the PvP players. But then again,
it's a
RNG
cool
is still
thing,
there.
There's RNG, and it's just like it's a lot of work to get that, like for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. To me, it's like I'm sure people will do it. You know, this is a grindy game, and people will want to grind that. I don't know.
Well, you know, and that's what you're saying, right? It's a grindy game, and that's my next question is, the grind is going to continue, but what's next? I know we have challenge mode coming for the raid, but beyond that, is this the end of this DLC or this expansion? Is this it?
I don't know. I think that there's some more in store. You know, they did in those terminals. They had, decrypted it, and there was a date of 11/10/15, which is the day Fallout 4 comes out.
Right.
So maybe they were referencing Fallout 4 there, or maybe they have something planned for that day. I don't know. See, here's the problem I have with what Bungie did here is like they had this great thing with where the Black Spindle was a thing, and all these people found it, and then every day people were like, what is in this one? What is in this one? But we soon realized, like, unless Bungie presses a button and unlocks whatever, secret is for that day, there's no secrets. And so, like, they made this thing where all of a sudden everybody's looking for the next Black Spindle event, and then realize, well, I mean, we can look, but we kind of have to just halfway look. We can't feel like every day's something, because if Bungie doesn't press that button that day, then there's nothing, and we spend hours trying to figure out something.
And that's what I mean. It's definitely good psych when you look at like a business plan. That's the way to keep people involved for sure. But as a player and not a person looking at the business aspect of it, I need more. I need there to be a Black Spindle 2-3 times a week. Not necessarily Black Spindle, but you get what I'm saying. That type of caliber of activity. I
wish there was just deeper gameplay. Like, I wish the push was... Like, right now, I wish the push wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go do this and this and this, so I can hopefully get better gear so I can infuse this.
Right.
Because that's it. Like, that's literally what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't pique your interest, like, once you get through the main content, you've done the raid till you're tired of it, that's all there is to do. Go infuse items. Find items you like and infuse them. Go grind for stuff to infuse those things. So, give us a deeper game. I'd like to see something deeper. I have ideas, and I'm not going to tackle them in this particular show, but...
Maybe next week.
Maybe next week.
And that's the ultimate thing here, is that we know now that Bungie has the ability to put together something incredible. They're right there on the cusp of it. They didn't quite achieve it wholeheartedly on this DLC, and they're definitely going to lose some people to a few games that are coming out here very shortly. You already mentioned Fallout 4, because it just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Well, I was just saying, you have Call of Duty Friday, you've got Fallout 4, which I think Fallout 4 is going to murder. Like, I really feel like that game is just going to murder everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, like, Just Cause and Tomb Raider and all this, and you have Halo 5 out. But yeah, I mean, for me, I don't want to sound like, I know I sound negative right now, and I kind of feel negative towards the game, but overall, it's very positive. I'm very positive on Destiny, the Taken King, and where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to see where they're going to move things next. So I'm not trying to sound negative, but kind of negative. I'm kind of negative right now. I'm like, you've almost got it. Like, you've scratched the itch almost perfectly to where, like, I don't have the itch no more, but...
Right, like they were in the area.
Right.
they were in the area and they scratched it, but they didn't quite get it. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they finish this up. And, we really look forward to the next DLC, which will be the end of Destiny 1's life cycle. And it'll be interesting to see how many people depart and return for that next DLC, and how many people hang in and grind throughout this game. But that's going to do it for us today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this conversation. Leave us a comment down below. Did you get to the lighthouse? Did you enjoy it? Were the weapons worth it to you? And also, will you be sticking around for the future of Destiny? Or is there another game that's kind of caught your eye? If you enjoy these types of conversations, you can check us out live every Friday night on twitch.tv/AimAssistGaming at 9 p.m. Pacific, where we discuss this type of stuff and more. I'm Hambone, he's Nolxero, and we'll see you when we see you.
See you later, guys.